Yeah, some spokesperson, well, two of them are just confirmed, appointed yesterday. One already did say that if we wanted to know details, use the FOI. You're beginning to wonder, and then later on this morning you read that, you know, he still has 97 days to do that. You know,
one and the same. One and the same. One and the same. Let me tell you why. So? Let me tell you why it's one and the same. If you want to get it early enough, if you want to get it before 100 days elapses, use the FOI, the Freedom of Information Bill.
So what's the change
then
if you're asking us to use the FOI?
Oh, test it.
Previous governments.
No, the change is in testing.
Use the FOI.
The change, Chamberlain, the change is in testing.
No, they thought that he was hitting the ground.
Before now, you've never had to recourse to using the FOI. So practicalize it. And then don't forget that the APC manifesto talks about the protection of a whistleblower. It's one of the linchpin of our campaign. So what you need to do is test this government on all fours.
Why should we go test that when before you came in, you had spoken about how you were going to do that? I know people have spoken about the fact that
if you can't wait until 100 days,
no, but
if you can't wait until a later date,
previous ones happened within 30 days. But now you're saying 100 days.
Did not declare their
late President Yaradua did it.
They didn't do it publicly. I know when and how most of the information about President Yaradua's or blessed memories assets were information that was gotten from the Katsina State records. He did not publicly declare. It was after those information came before the public domain that he gave credit. Olusegun Adeniyi is still alive. You know, so the fundamentals are simply that. He's saying, I will do that. Now, FOI comes in when you can wait. If he can do that tomorrow, he can do that in 2 weeks, he can do that in 30 days. But if you can't wait, use the FOI and then see exactly what he did right. Because he's not going to change. Let me make this clear.
I think Governor Jimobi,
if he has submitted it, he's not going to change it within the 100
that's
days.
the point. Something that, look, what he should have, so they suggest that, look, after all, it's changed. Let's say a new party for a new Nigeria, we're doing things differently. On the first day, I already published it to tell you, I know my assets. So whether the CCB verifies or not, if I prove me wrong, CCB, here is my asset, it's public. That's change.
No, I think
that would be doing something different.
That's ambushing the total wavelength and definition of change. Change is simply
if you do it
doing things differently. And your definition of doing things differently might just be different from mine. The truth is that at this point, he has declared his assets, and he's saying that I'll make it public. And then saying that I'll make it public within the first 100 days. Let me hit the ground running. Chamberlain, the fundamental issues that affect our nation. He inherited a comatose economy. He inherited a system that's bare-chested. He has to sit down and work on this. We know some of this. He has to deal with this fundamentals and move this country forward.
At the start of the program, we did say it wouldn't have been any problem with most Nigerians if he hadn't made a promise during the electioneering campaign. He did say he was going to do this for them publicly. And so when
we're saying the same thing.
No, I'm coming. So they didn't expect he was going to.
He didn't say he was going to do it on the first day of being sworn in. He didn't say he was going to do it 2 days after. He said he would do it publicly. And if he does it in 100 days, he has done it publicly. That's the point.
No, the difference is when.
A moment here.
No, the difference.
We're seeing so many afterthoughts now because if at the start of
were you expecting him to do that when he gave the speech?
Wait a moment.
Were you expecting him to do that the day before?
We're seeing so many afterthoughts here because if he had done it at the time he was giving it to the Code of Conduct Bureau, saying that these are for you, the office of the Code of Conduct Bureau, and he publicly declares them, I don't think anything would have happened. But it went on 24 hours, and when people started asking questions, that was when the statement came about 100 days in office.
And truth be said, Chamberlain, truth be said, Sulaiman, he submitted that to the Code of Conduct 24 hours before his swearing in. I don't know what time of that moment, that period, you expected him to address the press with the details. When that same day, he had to go through the inspection tour of the villa. That same day, they had to do the handover. That same night, they had to do the handover lunch before the swearing in. And then this is Monday. I think that what is important at this point is to take the president by the merit. And the merit is simply the fact that he has said, I will declare my asset publicly. And he hasn't said he will not do that. The reason the aide obviously went on to say, test the FOI, try the FOI, is simply because they want to get this, the president busy. And then whilst he decides, he could do that tomorrow, he could do that next tomorrow, he could do that in 1 month. But the fact is that, like he said, he would declare his asset publicly, he will do that.
The aides should be very careful the way they speak at this time, because it will seem like deja vu. We've had this kind of statements before without even prompting. You tell the people, test this, knowing full well you're a lawyer. The FOI bill Act has always been there. It's been tested. Some have used it in Lagos and in a couple of other states. It's been working. So telling people to go through the FOI as if it's just a new thing in our polity really didn't go down well with a lot of Nigerians. Come to think of it, going back to what we read in the papers, so many people he has won to his side. They are pained that the first that they should have been so proud of to say he did promise and has kept promise one, hasn't actually done.
No, he hasn't failed on that promise. Let's be fair, frank, and square here. He hasn't failed on that promise. He has declared his assets, and he hasn't said, I won't make it public. That's fundamentally the position to note. And then the second part of this debate on the asset is the fact that when they did say, and I want to say this, that before he took over as president, before he was sworn in, he did tell his aides to always say what he asks them to say, because we need a new paradigm.
So can we say that what they've said now, he did ask them to say it? And, no, just a minute. Can we say that what they've said now, he did ask them to say it?
Invariably, yes, because you can infer that. Because the truth is that both aides have not been inconsistent, as it were. The statement, on the one hand, is saying, if you want to see it now, use the FOI. And the other one is saying, he will do that within the...
Let me remind you.
And he hasn't said he won't do that. The promise he will keep. He will keep with the Nigerian people. The promise he will keep with the Nigerian people is the fact that our president will declare his assets and he will do that.
They're not saying that he will not make it public. So but what they're saying is that, I mean, this after all, we gave you...
The quarrel is the time?
No, they're saying after all, we gave you the mandate. But
the timing does not...
Let me even remind you
the timing does not equate to...
Olateju reminds us, before we wrap up, Olateju reminds us, he says Governor Ajimobi did same and was published in Vanguard on the 4th of July 2011. That was about 1 month after assuming office. He didn't say 100 days. And then there's so many others who speak about this kind of thing. So
if our president does it tomorrow, if he does it in 1 month, he still has done it publicly. I think that's what that tweet is trying to remind us.
No, perhaps what others are also
our
asking.
President has not
so
failed
what would have
on
been,
his promise.
What would have
he
been,
will keep that promise. What is fundamentally important now is the fact that the media and indeed the civil society should be proactively critical of, because the two legs of governance is the leader and the led, and they must contribute to making this regime work. Nobody's saying don't criticize this president. Nobody's saying don't nudge this president to fulfilling his promises. That's what we are for. That's what he has said. He says, come together, we can make Nigeria work. So I do sincerely believe that this criticism and critique is important because it will help government to do right. This regime is definitely going to be accommodating of criticism. And we believe that the time has come for this country to move away from the jangling discord of poverty, disease, and despondency to the blessed place of promise.
Thank you very much indeed. Chris Nwaokobia is a lawyer, member of the APC, and Director General of Change Ambassadors of Nigeria. We'll be back after the break. Don't go away.
Nigerians will not regret that they have entrusted national responsibility to us. We must not succumb to hopelessness and defeatism. We can fix our problems. Daunting as the task may be, it is by no means insurmountable. There is now a national consensus that our chosen route to national development is democracy. To achieve our objectives, we must consciously work the democratic system. The federal executive under my watch will not seek to encroach on the duties and functions of the legislative and judicial arms of government. The law enforcing authorities will be charged to operate within the Constitution.